If no one has said this as plainly as I'm about to, let me be the first. Your brand is a world, a living, breathing, and ever-changing ecosystem that needs congruence to maintain itself. Hi, I'm naomiolutayo, the brand priestess, and I partner with spiritual black women founders to bridge the gap between their misalignment and their fully actualized brand. If you enjoy what you hear today, consider subscribing to my newsletter, Letters from My Living Room, where I share deeper strategies and wisdom on founder energetics, just like this. All right, let's get into today's video. If you did not know, there is a difference between a business and a brand in terms of function. The core function of your business is to make money. If your business is not making money, you don't have a business. But your brand, its core function is it exists to impact through emotional resonance. So all brands are businesses, but not all businesses are brands. Your brand is a living, breathing entity. It has its own mind, character, essence, aura, etc. And this is the mistake that most founders make, that even I made when I had my hair care brand. They treat their brand as a backdrop to their products instead of curating a world where your product exists comfortably inside of. Remember, your brand exists to have impact through emotional resonance. What I need you to understand is that the least interesting thing about your brand should be the products that you sell. And that sounds kind of counterintuitive because, what would you be selling if you didn't have the product, right? It's really just a difference in, perception. The least interesting thing about your brand should be the products that you sell. For one, it's expected to sell a product, right? like I said, what are you selling if not a product? And also, your product should be excellent. That is the standard and that's the expectation. We expect goodness from business owners. We expect when we buy something for it to work because that's what you promised us, right? That's the expectation. That is not your brand, though. The functionality of your product is the least of the things that you're selling. A lot of us get so caught up in how good the product is or the packaging that we forget that's a given. That is expected. It's good and it's great, but that is the standard. So unless you are somebody who is trying to build a business under the likes of Dove, where accessibility and functionality are important in that sense, and those are the main sellers, I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking about brands that are more in the indie space, the mid-size, things like that. The functionality of your product and the fact that you have a product are the least interesting things about you. Your product really is just a reinforcement of your brand. All right, so your product is a vehicle of embodiment. It's what drives home the impact that your brand has. And outside of the promises that your product has in its function, your brand has to touch at least 3 points that I'm going to list down for you: status, identity, community, aesthetic, lifestyle, aspiration, and vision. Like I said, outside of the function, it's from at least 3 of these points that your brand has to touch. And like I said, your product reinforces these things. That is the vehicle towards these things. That's the anchor that what makes your brand real, your product. Your customers need to be able to exist, thrive, and identify with your brand on those points because that is the impact that you have. And you deliver that through the emotional resonance. Your brand world is all about who your customers are becoming together. For example, I always like to use the example of Bomba, the sock brand, because it's just so simple. Buy a pair, give a pair. So now every single time somebody purchases a product, they are directly contributing to their vision, right? I believe they give to the homeless or homeless shelters. So that's one point, vision. Next is community. Because now when you see someone wearing a Bombas sock, now when you share about your purchase or anything, you are now connected to the worldwide global customer base of Bombas, and you know that we share the same values. That's the second point. And then the third point is lifestyle. Who are Bombas' customers? Not only are they bonding over the product, the vision, the community, they're also bonding over the lifestyle that they share. You know what I mean? And that includes values and things like that, right? So your brand world is all about who your customers are becoming together. Remember, your product is a vehicle for embodiment, a road to actualization. And so their socks, yeah, they keep my foot warm, but also you just reinforce their own personal values of giving back just through your product alone. You know that you've been positioning your brand as just another product when the sum of all your touch points communicate to an outsider that your product is just really good. When people come into your world and all they get is that, yeah, it's just really good, and they're not getting like a shared vision that they can join in, they aren't understanding how this improves their status or their identity, if the only thing that they're getting from you is just like, oh, this is a good product, you have missed the mark. After the first 7 touch points with the brand, you really should be able to identify how they can tap into your world, if that world is in existence. Like, I should intuitively know that wearing a logo on my bag will increase my status. I should know and be able to pick up easily that buying this Jeep gives me access to community that I can self-identify with. Like, I should be able to tell what vision my purchase is funding. It should be easy to tap into those things because those are the touch points, those are the entryways for your world. Your world is just an egregore. An egregore is just like a shared belief that becomes real. And I'm not explaining that well. I just learned about this, but this is the best way I can put it. It's not a place. It's a shared mentality. It's a shared reality that people can come in and out of, self-identify with. They can share with people. When you're just a product, what they're sharing is the product. But when you build a world, what they're sharing is what the product has done for them and how they can get access to community, how they can get access to that status, and so on and so forth. You were always more than just a product. Like, this vision that you have, this company that you have, it's ancestral. It is literally God-given. You are here to be the blueprint for others, to challenge systems, to raise a collective consciousness. Like, it's not small. And I want us to stop thinking only at the product. Like, yes, we have to make sales, that's important, but never neglect the brand. Like, the brand is just as important as the business. If you are ready to align your brand with the vision that God has given you, if you're tired of playing small and trying to confine yourself into systems that don't really work for you, I want you to DM me. We will discuss together about how we can bridge that gap between misalignment and your most actualized brand. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my newsletter, Letters from My Living Room, and subscribe to this channel so you'll know when I go and upload next. But anyways, I thank you for coming by, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.